So welcome to another Creative Spin podcast, and today I got myself in trouble and I had to go get a lawyer. No, I did not. We'll be talking to Jose. He is a lawyer, but I am not in trouble. But we're going to be talking about not only law, but most importantly for me, I think, is the whole business aspect of what it is to be a lawyer and own your own business. There are a lot of good little nuggets in this Creative Spin podcast. I hope you guys enjoy it. So, without further ado, hit that intro. Today's podcast is brought to you by Workplace One, a company offering boutique private offices, co-working spaces, and virtual office solutions, as well as meeting rooms in the best neighborhoods of Toronto and Kitchener-Waterloo. Ideal for entrepreneurs, companies, and passionate business people. Workplace One is where you want to be with your business. For more information, go over to workplaceone.com. Creative Spin Podcast is now on the air, and thank you for being a part of our podcast. Jose, welcome to our podcast, Jose.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
You got here early, which is a first for us because usually our guests, our guests are great. They always come in time. But you got here early. You got to see how we set things up. And how sometimes things get interesting around here.
It was well worth it coming in early and sitting in for that.
And how a radio station got into our headsets and all of that. It was
through the TV.
Through the TV. We figured that much out. and it confused me even more. I don't know. I have to try to figure the whole TV to radio to headphone situation. But welcome to this podcast.
People are very confused right now.
I know. That's why I'm just trying to skip around. Thank you for accepting the invitation and for being here and to just sit down and talk to me a little bit. I think when I asked you to be here, my focus on this podcast is I want to be able to bring as many different angles to what it is to be an entrepreneur, what it is to have an entrepreneurial mind. And you've been at that game for a little bit now.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. But to give a little bit of context to everybody at home, I always ask my guests a little bit of their origin story so that, everybody knows a little bit about who you are, where everything started, and how everything started. So go for it.
To sum it up, I went to school. I went to law school, and then I decided I wanted to take on the business part of law, business side of law, and to do that, I started my firm. Initially, I was by myself, and then we've grown a little bit.
Did you start that right after university, right after your course?
After you finish university, you have to do a year-long internship that we call articling, essentially making sure you know where to go when you have to go to court.
And what to say and what to do. Okay, that makes sense.
So because school focuses on, and actually that's an interesting thing I'd like to touch on today. School focuses on the substantive part of the law mostly. Yeah. And it's kind of sad because you don't learn how to run a business, how to run a legal business.
Now, do they even offer courses of how to run your business?
Not the law school I went to, and not to my knowledge.
So you would essentially, if you wanted to educate yourself a little bit more, you would actually have to take a secondary course on business to run your business, your law business.
Which, after 7 years of school, it's the last thing you want to do.
It's like, okay, I've done this, I've done that. Oh my God, now I got to do another 3 years?
But it's 3 years of law school. Just have 1 or 2 courses about how to run a business and how to run a law firm as a business.
Because I guess I kind of understand probably why they don't, because a law might be seen more as, you usually you finish your course and you end up working at a law firm, right? Usually that's the case. But I mean, there's always that percentage of people that want to have their own business. So I agree with you. They should have at least a component, a choice, because I think early on you knew you wanted to have your own business, right?
Yeah, and you know that it's a significant part of being a lawyer if you're running your own business, that you run it well.
Yeah.
And I think it makes you a better lawyer because
Of course.
everyone who runs a business knows there are all sorts of pressures that
Just a little bit once in a while.
that really impact the substance of the work you do.
Absolutely.
Like the business pressures impact how good of a lawyer you are. If you're losing sleep over your business, if you're not getting enough rest, if you don't have enough cash flow at the end of the month, that's going to impact the mental time you have to devote to your clients and
Absolutely.
the substance of their file. So if everything runs smoothly on the business, or as smoothly as it can run
I was going to say, what's the trick?
on the business aspect of it, I think you can become a better lawyer. You can provide better legal services.
Absolutely.
And your mental health too has a huge impact because when things are going wrong, you're not you're getting stressed out. You're not taking vacation.
Yeah.
It's much more.
Yeah, it just affects
unnecessary.
everything. But do you find? I mean, you're obviously a young guy, and all of the colleagues you've had and all of that. Do you find that a lot of your peers as well, they're looking into starting their own business? Do you think that that's now kind of like a little bit of a shift in your industry of people starting their own business?
I think more and more we see that, and there's a few things.
Why is that?
Well, number one, the more people, we're opening the doors to we're making it easier for people who were trained abroad to become lawyers in Ontario.
Okay.
So there's more lawyers out there. There's
Okay.
more people providing legal services, and the big firms and the firms can no longer absorb all the lawyers that are coming out. So more people start their own shop because you've invested so many years into this business. You want to be a lawyer.
Years of money, right? It's
Exactly.
It's not cheap.
And but I don't think the legal system is set up to promote that kind of entrepreneurship. For example, one of the other things that bothers me is that our own regulator, the Law Society, they come and audit you after you've been in practice for some time. And while there are a lot of written resources on how to set up your own firm,
Yeah.
I believe that they should have people in the Law Society that come and visit you for a week when you're starting out and giving you tips.
Kind of letting you know how this
Yeah,
is.
so instead of coming later on and fixing all the stuff you've been screwing up,
Yeah, it's essentially, here you go, start, and then we'll catch up with you in a couple of months. Yeah.
it should be reversed.
Exactly.
You're planning on starting a law firm, you have to register with the Law Society, and we will send someone to help you create best practices. Even a few days, just think about this, think about that. And this is not to say there aren't written resources online. There are. But I think that personal sitting down with you goes a long way.
Absolutely. Looking somebody in the eye and going through the experiences and the questions that are going to come up. I mean, every business is going to be different. You're going to have a whole different group of people you're working with, a whole different set of clients that you're going to have that are going to bring different issues and different problems. And these are things that you can't really put all into a book because they're so different from each other.
And people don't know that unless they have either have a past in business and they understand business, or they've done something wrong and then they learn that way, that the right way of doing it. So I think we should pass on that experience early on to entrepreneurs that are lawyers and want to start their law firms.
Let's say in the future, would you be able to start a course on your own and say, you know what, I want to teach some of the younger lawyers, let's say, your plan for retirement, let's say in a few years from now. Could that be something that could be done by someone, or does it have to be done through a university?
I think it could definitely be done by someone.
Right.
It's I think the university is a good place to do it because, first of all,
there would be a structure to it and all that, right?
And if you're thinking, if you haven't decided that you want to run your own firm as a lawyer, just taking a course and knowing what's involved, might help you with that decision before you've gone down that road.
Exactly. I mean, you might even find out that, hey, you know what? I might start my own business. I thought I was going to work for a firm, and now, you know what? I might give it a try and see how it works out, right?
Or the opposite too, is, well, I thought this was going to be a lot less work than what it actually is. So it's not for me.
So talk to us a little bit about those those expectations as you're coming out of, university, and you're full of energy and full of dreams, and then bam, you get hit with the reality of life and business. Do you want to share a couple of funny stories or things you weren't expecting? I don't know,
Well,
something.
It's a roller coaster, and I think that's true for any business. It's a roller coaster, and the main thing that I've been lucky to have is people around me that have always given me good advice. So I think it's very important to have, I would call it like good advisors, like people that you can talk to and ask questions about the business.
Exactly.
And will help you make decisions. And having a diverse pool of opinions is key, because you can pick and choose what fits who you are and what fits your model.
And probably even people outside of the of law, right? People who have businesses might come in with an idea that you can probably apply to your own business afterwards.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And I think you need to be prepared to do a lot of paperwork and bookkeeping and understanding accounting, understanding what cash flow is, understanding what you need, what cash you need every month to stay afloat.
Yeah.
Because that will also force you to be better at billing and bill monthly. I know, there's situations where people don't bill for a few months. Well, if you understand your business well, you'll know that that's a risk that you're taking.
Yeah.
Because your clients then get that huge bill.
Yeah.
From 3 months ago. It's like, why are you billing me now?
Yeah.
And also, I think it's important to understand that while you have to devote a big part of who you are to running your business, you still have to have a life outside of the business to keep objectivity, to understand that if it's failing or if things are not going well, you shouldn't take that personally, in my view. You should just be objective and be like, okay, how do I fix that? It's not you failing, it's the business. So that will make you a better businessman, I think, to look at it objectively.
Absolutely. I think, I never see a mistake, quote unquote, in business as being a mistake. I think it's a learning process. We all have to kind of go through it. Trust me, I know a little thing or two about those mistakes. After almost 16 years in business, you make a ton of mistakes. And it's interesting now, just now in my 40s, I've been in business for a while. You mature in that sense, and you're a lot more calmer, and you see things objectively, and you don't start freaking out every single time. But it's a learning process, and it's good to hear that even as a lawyer, you guys go through the same thing. And I think you're absolutely right when you say you need to have a good pool of people around you that can support you, that can help you, that can be there for you. I think it's important for any business. So anybody that's watching us or listening to us right now, I mean, if you're thinking about getting into business, I think one of the best ways is to really find that. And it doesn't need to be a big group, right?
No.
You can have like one,
It's
two
true.
people, but the right people. Sometimes a big group isn't good, because then you get the crazies are there. They're everywhere. And it's gonna get complicated. So you don't want to do that. You want to get, the right people to be beside you.
And even when you're 100% sure of your next step, it doesn't hurt to ask them.
Absolutely.
To hear an opinion. And maybe you'll change your mind, maybe you won't. But you've done what you needed to do. And those people are key, because we're talking about mistakes. They help you sometimes avoid those mistakes. You just have a bridge over the mistake, and you don't.
It makes it easier, but even though sometimes we'll hear about these mistakes or these things that have happened, and we're like, that won't happen to me. I'll work around it. And then a few years down the road, you go, damn it, no, he was absolutely right. I should have listened to him. But it's the nature of the beast. So, how long have you been in business now?
I've been in business. I'm on my 7th year.
7. I like the number 7. I don't know why.
It's a good number.
It's a good number. And how's it been? So
it's been
from now until.
Overall, it's been great. We've been doing well, which I'm very happy about, and partly because the other key to success in a business, I think, and it's related to this, is who do you have working with you? So what's the energy in your team? What's the focus in your team? And for me, it's one of the things that is key is trusting your gut when you're choosing the people you're going to work with. Because sometimes someone looks really good on paper.
Oh yeah, they always look good on paper.
And then you meet them and you're like, my instinct is telling me that there's an issue here. My brain is looking at this resume and saying, oh, that's fantastic. So if your instinct tells you that there's something there, it's good to follow that.
That's great advice. I second that. I think it's it's great advice, using your gut feeling. I mean, a lot of people might say, "Oh no, but you got to go with the numbers." And yeah, everything kind of works, but that first gut feeling, I 100% agree with you. You have to. There's something there. You either like someone or you don't like someone, right?
And trust that.
You got to go with it. I mean, that's the way life is, right?
But it's interesting because part of me questions, well, am I being unfair with that person?
Mm-hmm.
Because gut is not an objective.
True.
An objective thing that I can
Can't
say
really
exactly
no.
why am I choosing not to give this person a chance. And then the question becomes, is this fair? And what is really driving that decision? Is this... So I struggle with that too.
Yeah, and you need to also look at it, when you're choosing somebody else to be part of the team, you now need to think not only for yourself, but for the team. Right?
Yeah.
Is this person going to fit within the team environment? Not just me. I might really like that person, but then everybody else might hate that person, and there's going to be a bumpy road ahead, right? And you don't want that in a business. I think I don't want it. Now, throughout,
you still need to make sure that, and I guess what I'm trying to put across here, when I say gut, you need to check yourself that you're not making that decision because of the person's color or race or religion.
Yeah.
That those things are not in your mind when you're saying your gut. It's just the energy that you're talking about and if that person's a good person or not a good person. So these days it's important, I think to keep that in check.
It's very important for us to kind of like go with our gut as well, because you're going to be working with this person, man.
Yeah.
And the last thing you're going to want is, to go home and, man, because, it takes you down. And, going back to what you were saying before of, you want to have a good balance even when you get out of the office. It's really that. You don't want to go home and thinking about, that guy or that gal driving me crazy all day.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. You get home, it's like, no, this is not it. So, throughout these 7 years, now you're at a point where do you feel like there's still a lot more to learn? Are you expanding your practices? Are you looking into different things, different strategies? What's the grand
Jamie,
plan?
It's so interesting because as a lawyer, I feel like I'm a lot more confident in my work and in the quality of my work. As a businessman, I don't feel that. I feel like every month I need to take steps to fix things, and every month I feel like I still have so much to learn, and every month I feel like I'm still doing mistakes, right? As a business person.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel I thought I would feel much more confident in my business decisions.
I wish I could stand here and tell you, it's gonna get better.
But that's interesting. Why?
I
what
don't
is
know.
about business?
And the thing is, it's not that it will get worse or it will continue with a lot of headaches. I think it's just going to be different types, and it has to do with the evolution. Because you as a human being, you're going to start evolving. You're going to start doing different things. You're going to start having different teammates. You're going to have, and all of that are going to bring different issues and different problems and different. Then age comes into effect, and then your personal life comes into effect. When you have kids, or when you have more than one more than two, it's just when you buy a dog. I'm thinking about my dog Loki. Like, it becomes an issue. Like, all of these things, you might seem like they're insignificant. What does a dog have to do with my business? It will. There will be a day that it might affect you, but throughout all of this, is it still worth it? Do you think it's still worth it? Do you still have that little oomph that you had when you started, that you wanted to get go?
I do, because that uncertainty of my decision keeps me alive as a person, like keeps me motivated, keeps me wanting to continue. And I really like that, because as a person, I like change. I like to try
I call it
new
evolving,
thing.
right?
Right. And I don't know if it happened to you, but I'm 34, so I'm loving my 30s because I feel that certain things
Hey,
are
34.
clicking.
I just turned 43. There you go. Just change the digits there.
But age helps you get that perspective too, and be calmer about things, and be more relaxed, and not everything is the end of the world anymore.
Yep.
And
Trust me.
That's awesome. I like that.
It is. And it will only get better with age. I think, a lot of people are always afraid of getting older. And one of the things that I've been noticing is that I think we're living in an age that age is not such a big issue as it used to be. I don't know. Think about it this way. When you look back and you think about when you were a little kid and you used to look at a 40-year-old, does that person, the 40-year-old that you used to look at, does that compare to the 40-year-old you look at today? I don't think so. They're very different people, right? I think when I looked at my dad or anybody in my age bracket that I am right now, they weren't up to date with things.
That's true for 17-year-olds, for 16-year-olds. Like you, when you're a kid, you look at older people, and then you get there.
Man, that guy's old, Now I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, man, that guy's old. No. But you feel differently, and I think we're evolving a little bit differently, right? And our experiences are you still have that, you stay calmer, you know how to approach problems in a different way, but it's this other part that I didn't know, which is you're still young. You still feel like you can do it, right? But now you have all this baggage of experience. So
you can do it better.
Now you're going to start kicking some ass, right? You're going to go out there and you're going to start doing things for real, because now you're going to be able to avoid all the problems that you had. So for all you guys out there that are afraid to get older, don't worry, man. You're going to still feel good.
It's a great journey, actually.
Yeah.
The 30s, I hear good things about the 40s, too. So.
Awesome. They're amazing.
So anyway, but that helps you also as a business person, I think. And when we're talking about advisors, I have people in my group that are, much older than me, and I listen to them because as I go through this process, I'm like, whoa, this person is already 20 years ahead.
Exactly.
So,
right?
That's gold, little nuggets of gold that they're giving.
But do you find that they're listening to you as well? Because that's sometimes an issue, right? We as younger will listen to the older people, but then sometimes it's difficult for the older people to listen to the younger people. Are you finding that in your field?
In my field, in my field, I think you're right. It's hard to get through to them, but personally, the older people I keep in my group of advisors, I think they listen to me. The ones that know me, and I think that advice is a two-way road, except if we're talking about my dad or people that will always be stubborn.
Parents are parents. I mean, they have a job to do.
You know what I mean, right?
Absolutely.
But people that you're kind of more distant, but close, your relationship is just based on good advice, flowing both ways, I think works quite nicely.
All right. And in this journey, so now you've also started tapping into trying out new things in how you want to put out the message to a broader audience. We're working together in some little projects as well, and doing videos and all of that stuff. What is your view in today's world, today's technology, and the law, in the sense of law is something that, law changes obviously, but not so much. It's been something that, it's one of those fields that it takes time for any changes. But now all of a sudden all this new tech is coming in. How do you see those two talking to each other?
It's interesting because you came into my life at a period of change too, because I've become a partner in another law firm. Yeah. And that's going to be our where we're going to try these things. Yeah, and, let's try this. And we're all together in it.
Yeah, exactly.
My family law practice is much more conventional in terms of how we advertise. And now this firm that I've just joined, everyone is on board with trying new media and new ways to reach out to clients. So I think technology hasn't yet jolted the law, but I think it will very shortly. Not just in the way you advertise, but also in the way you practice. So technology in the courtroom and technology how you file documents. We still do a lot of things. We use fax machines, and
Those still work?
And I was talking to my 16-year-old nephew, and he doesn't know what a fax machine is, Jamie.
I know. Trust me, I have a teenager at home.
Let me tell you about the device.
And that's when you start sounding really old.
So I'm trying to explain to this 16-year-old kid what a fax machine is.
Yeah.
And that's when you know that things have changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And either you stay with the fax machine or you try to...
You got to evolve,
to keep up.
Yeah.
That delay, I think, exposes a great opportunity for lawyers that want to tap that market early on. So
absolutely,
we see a lot of bigger firms already advertising in Instagram and social media.
Yeah, they're pushing on a lot of the platforms. Yeah, but you're right. You don't see it a lot yet.
It's not universal yet.
Yeah.
It's not like the way advertising on TTC is for lawyers. So you see a lot of personal injury and other firms advertising.
Yeah, they're still based on the old, and I call it old with air quotes here, on the old media. That still works. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I think, being able to work on both sides of the spectrum, the quote unquote old media and quote unquote the new media, I think that's the secret, really, is it's being able to send off your message to anybody that's willing to hear it or that is in need of that. Yeah. And what you're trying to do, based on our conversations, is you want to make your practice actually I should say you want to make law more accessible to the general public, right? You want to make it easier for them to understand. Because I think the big perception is like, oh my gosh, I got to go talk to my lawyer. Like, it's always that big perception that, oh, I don't understand what's going on, the lingo, the law. There's so many little pieces to the puzzle for anything when it comes to law. And you want to break that a little bit. You want to be able to bring the message to the audience, right?
Yeah, and technology is definitely making that easier. And I think we're just scratching the surface.
Oh, absolutely.
Very, very. Like, even doing a podcast like this is something that advances that access to justice. And, we're talking about how young lawyers can start their own law firms. And we're seeing more and more of that days. Well, if we have more lawyers, there's going to be more people providing legal services for people that wouldn't otherwise have it. And then if those lawyers are reaching out to social media, we will see more and more of that in the next few years. And I'm excited for it.
All right. You're ready for the adventure of law and social media. So,
I'm actually curious from your perspective.
Oh, questions to me. I like this.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Do you find that dealing with law firms poses different challenges as clients than other businesses?
No, and I don't, because my take on this is that I see everybody, and when I say everybody, is any type of field, at the same level. I think that anybody that has a business is selling either a product or a service. And the way you sell things is the same way, right? You create a connection with the clients that you have, or you try to reach out to new clients. I mean, that's the basis of it. And social media and all of these new things, they're absolutely down the same route that the way that marketing was done before. Even when technology wasn't here, what did we do? We provided good service in order for other people to like us and to come back to us and to spread the word. The only difference that social media is doing is now that reach is a lot bigger. When you were in a small town, you had 200 people around you, that was your audience. But then you had a very big connection to that audience because they knew where you lived, what you like to eat. So let's say if you had a restaurant, you came into the restaurant, I would know, okay, I know Jose likes his soup this way or the meat that way. So now you can create
blue, please.
You can create your marketing around what you know. And with social media, I think the biggest misconception people have is they want numbers. They want to reach out to everybody. That's great, but you also need to connect with them. You also need to get close to them, just the same way as the small shop in a small town used to do before. You still need to do that in social media. So when you say lawyers or real estate agents or whoever it is, it's all the same thing. It's just how you do it, right? It's how you're going to talk about it. It's how the real estate agent is going to talk about it, and how you're going to be able to connect to your audience. That's the little secret, and that's where it's different. And that's where I come in. I love doing that. I love talking to you and seeing what you're good at and how you're going to connect with your audience. That's the part of this business that I like, is that uncertainty of how. I know what we need to do, but how you're going to do it. And that's the key feature.
Social media for me, or advertising in general, is one of the reasons I really enjoy it, is that because I love that personal connection with people. Mm-hmm. When you're in social media and then someone out there recognizes you and comes and talks with you, mm-hmm. they feel like they know you already.
Yeah. Oh,
so it's a lot easier to have that connection right away with a person, because
absolutely.
the barriers are dropped. Mm-hmm. This person feels like they know you, and
and in a way they do,
and in a way they do, exactly. But then you get that connection right away. Yeah. And if you're at a party and someone, I see you on TV, or I see your podcast, and I follow you, and that connection is already there, so you get a better quality of interaction with the person, and that for me is brilliant.
And you've had experience. I mean, we were just talking just before we started. You've been doing TV for quite a while as well. Been a guest in quite a few TV shows. This is a little bit of just a transition for you, because
it feels very different. Though. First,
it does?
I did TV for the Portuguese community, so that's where I focused. And my favorite crew are the Portuguese old ladies. I love them; they love me. When I say, you go to a party and you speak to a Portuguese old lady and they recognize me, breaks my heart, and I love them, and they love. So it's great.
That so connection.
Now that connection is there, and in a way. Transitioning now to an English-speaking crowd feels different. I have to be honest about that, and we've talked about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's a new journey. So that's cool. But yeah, so it's.
I think it'll be a good experience. We're gonna definitely try some new things and see what happens. So now to end this off, do you have any message for? Let's say there's a young, soon-to-be lawyer watching us right now that is now thinking, I'm going to start my own company as well. What's your advice?
Well, my advice is, first, don't overthink it, because you can find reasons to not do something if you think long enough about it.
Yeah.
For everything in life, I think. So don't overthink it. It works out. Second, don't think a little bit about it. So that means call up people that are doing what you want to do, and you'll be shocked how generous people are with their time. Mm-hmm. Jamie, if someone calls me tomorrow, I don't know this person, and I want to set up a law firm. Do you have advice for me? I'll give that person my time, because that's who I am.
Because and you would want that to happen to you when you started as well, right?
Exactly. So reach out for advice and talk to people about it. And then try new things, but don't try things that might...
that are too out there?
Not too out there. I'm thinking, for example, when I started, I tried to put an advertising a spot on a well-known radio station in Toronto. Mm-hmm. That cost me a lot of money.
Yeah,
Jamie, a lot of money. I was biting more than I can chew, but that's who I am. Like I go out there. I hit for the stars. But that cost me a lot of money, and I wished I had thought a little bit better about spending $30,000 for 3 months on a radio spot. So
you need to be aware of those things, and not not try to run before you learn how to walk, right?
Exactly. So it's finding that balance of not being overly critical of your work. Mm-hmm. And I'll take one of your page book. It's, if it's not perfect right away, it's okay.
It's okay.
You got to start trying,
keep going.
And then it's gonna get better. So that's true in business as well. Mm-hmm. If you've made a website and it's not 100% perfect,
okay.
Just put it out there and then work on it.
Yeah.
Don't because the problem is also if you make something perfect and then you just forget about it, it's gonna get outdated. So it's better to keep working and being out there. So those would be Some of the
We got some sound effects going on.
it's not the radio.
No, it's not the radio.
But yeah, so that's what I would
Great
say.
advice, great advice. I hope that we've somehow helped someone out there. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're an amazing
It's
guest,
my
and
absolute pleasure.
and you guys out there, keep an eye out because you're gonna see this beautiful face out there everywhere. And from our end, thank you for being here with the Creative Spin podcast, and don't forget to hit that. Just, karate chop that subscribe button on YouTube and just, do what you need to do. Anyways, guys, catch you on the next one.